Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode, Green on the Greens, the FedEx St. Jude Championship. The PGA Tour playoffs have begun. Myself and Cody Williams here to give you our best bets for this week's event. Last week, I did a solo show, Cody, completely by myself. You were stuck in an airport somewhere, so I went solo, and I did give out a winner. Aaron Rai was my top 5 pick for the show, but I did say I was betting on him outright as well, and the double glove bandit came through for me. I did not see how it finished. I heard it's a bit of a choke job by Max Gracerman, I believe is his last name. But, hey, a winner is a winner. I'll take it. Double glove bandit finally came through for me. I was on the Aaron Rai train for a long time this year. So I'm glad to see that finally paid off. I'm glad I didn't get off him like I have some other golfers who then won as soon as I got off them. So continue to bet on Aaron Rai. Finally paid off for the win last week.
No, 100%. Although I think the biggest story coming out of it was Kuchar. I don't know if you saw the Kuchar drama that went on where they had to have the Monday finish so he could finish half a hole.
Yes, that is the number one story because I'm very passionate about this. I like Cooch, but Cooch, I've never seen a more on-brand thing for someone to do than this. If you ask me who on the PGA Tour would be the last golfer on the course and force the entire event staff to come back the next morning so he can play 2 shots to finish T12 or whatever it was that he finished, I would guess that would be Matt Kuchar.
100%.
Of course, there was the story. It was back in 2019 when he got the caddy for the Mexico event, had a local caddy because his normal caddy couldn't make it, agreed to pay him $5,000, then won an event with a purse of like millions, and it was like, no, he said, no, we agreed on $5,000, I'm paying $5,000, I'm not going to pay him any extra. This is the same Matt Kuchar, who, I don't know, Cody, if you've seen like those graphs, and I said this on Twitter, it's like chaotic good, chaotic evil, like lawful good. Matt Kuchar is lawful neutral. Because he has his his priorities, and it's just like no matter how much it inconveniences someone. Because I don't think he does it like with malice. Like I think he's just like, no, this is just what I want to do, and I'm going to do it. He was just like, yeah, it's dark. I'm going to come back and finish tomorrow. I'm probably going to bogey this hole in the dark, so I'm going to come back tomorrow. And it's like, okay, so now all the event staff needs to come back the next day. Half the media needs to come back to watch him hit 2 shots when you're gonna finish T12. And he's like, yeah, but it's too dark, so I'm not gonna play in the dark. I'm gonna come back and finish tomorrow. It's an insane thing to do, but he has his beliefs and he sticks to them. So I kind of like it.
So honestly, the more I've been thinking about it, the more I want to compare Matt Kuchar to Thanos because there's a big argument among Marvel fans that Thanos had the right idea. The execution was just really poor in his idea and how he was going to execute those ideas. And I think Matt Kuchar kind of falls into that category. He has his moral code and he's going to stick to it. There was talk about whether or not he forced everyone to come back because he was pissed off about pace of play and stuff like that. Whatever the case may be, you just have to read the room a little bit. You're finishing T12. If he was in contention, I think this is a little bit more justifiable. But he had played himself out of contention. And then what I think made this all just the more we're living in a simulation type of behavior is he shows up on Monday morning and then immediately gets phantom TIO relief. That's
right.
Unbelievable.
That's a twist to the story that isn't talked about enough. Is before he even shot his first shot in the back, he called in a rules official to potentially get relief, which is crazy. This guy is insane.
It's unbelievable stuff. There are a lot of people on Twitter who are anti TIO relief generally, and then you're going to make everyone come back and then immediately make them work so you can get TIO relief. Just a diabolical plan by Matt Kuchar.
Just unbelievable stuff. He parred the hole and finished T12 or something. So congrats on the T12 finish, Matt Kuchar. That is to make everyone come back like that. I don't think you can understate the amount of inconvenience that is for the rest of the tournament staff. To have to come back the next day. You can't, if he could have finished, then I'm sure they could have, started the tear down a little bit that night. They could have got the process going. To delay that process into another day is unbelievable stuff to hit 2 shots.
Oh, imagine if you're a member at Sedgefield Country Club and you have a Monday morning tea time and Matt Kuchar completely ruins it.
Yeah. Unbelievable stuff. But regardless, he didn't make the playoffs for the first time, I think, since the playoffs began in 2007. It is the playoffs now. It is the most it's the least cared about playoffs in professional sports. but at least you get strong fields. It's kind of interesting, but it's certainly not to the same extent as the majors, or even I'd put it at this point kind of below the Olympics too.
No, absolutely.
But it is what it is. It is a golf tournament with the best golfers the PGA Tour has to offer. So we are, of course, going to bet on it. By the way, I'm on vacation. But after winning Aaron Rye last week, I wasn't going to leave the people hanging. I've taken a break from sitting by the lake. I got my vacation hat on, my vacation shirt on, my vacation beard growing out. I'm ready to give some picks.
I see a vacation soul patch coming in, too. That's the important thing.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a vacation beard, but I can't grow a beard. I don't really get hair on my cheeks, and like there's a huge like hairless line down the middle of my neck.
I have that right there as well. Yep.
So I'm gonna let it go a little bit longer and then kind of see what happens. I mostly just grow on my lip and on my chin. So we'll see what it looks like for next week's show. Maybe it'll be growing in a little bit. It's gonna be disgusting though.
I had a question for you. So
sure.
I agree with you about like the FedEx Cup playoffs being just kind of lackluster, especially in comparison to the majors and even the Olympics. Do you have any like grandiose ideas on like how you would fix it if you could like make this more interesting, if you could make it more intriguing?
Match play.
Match play?
Especially now with no match play. I love match play. I think match play is the most exciting form of golf to watch, especially on TV. Make this a bracket. Okay. Differentiate it from everything else. Make it like the first, maybe, this week and next week is stroke play. But then when you get to the Tour Championship, or maybe even like the week before the Tour Championship, I don't have the details locked in, but I think it should be match play. Give me a FedEx Cup final, one-on-one, winner wins it all in match play. I think that would be electric.
Dude, I do too. And I'm actually going to take that and combine it with my idea, which – we know at the Tour Championship in a couple of weeks, they have like the starting scores or whatever.
Yep.
What I would do is take these two tournaments, the FedEx St. Jude and the BMW next week, and I would make it an aggregate score over those two tournaments. So you have to play well both weeks. Then the top 32 make it into the Tour Championship, and then you have a 32-player match play bracket there. Like I think that's the best of both worlds to get there, because it's rewarding the players who are playing well, which we're already trying to do, but then you get that match play element on top of that.
So does the handicap start in that form this tournament?
Yes.
Got it. So Scotty Scheffler would have the inside track on being the number one seed, but then once you get to the Tour Championship, it's match play. 1v32, 2v31 or whatever.
Yeah, and you would obviously, because you're not doing the starting scores for just 30 people, you're doing it for 70 that make the playoffs. Like you would have to make some adjustments there. I haven't figured that out because it's not going to happen. Let's be realistic about it. It's not going to happen. But if it were to, you start now and then it's an aggregate score, whatever you're at after the end of the BMW, that's what you go in. That's your seeding for match play.
Now I'm going to play devil's advocate to myself, and I think the main argument against making the Tour Championship match play is that Tour or match golf, you do play it a little bit different. Like it's a different style of golf in terms of shot making and game plan and strategy. So it is a little bit strange to have an entire season where the points are made up of stroke play, and then for the final championship, it's match play. That does seem strange. I'll that's a point against myself, but still, we got to get match play back in the mix a little bit.
I wonder, I think there's a financial way to go around that, though. What I would potentially do is, if we're doing the seeding thing that I just proposed, you give the FedEx Cup playoffs, based on your seeding and match play, based on how you do in the aggregate through these first two events, and then there's just an extra bonus for whoever wins the match play. You still get the FedEx Cup champion trophy, but the payouts, because I know that's what people are going, particularly the players on tour, that's what their big hang-up is going to be. We're deciding it on our biggest payout of the year on match play. You don't decide that. It's an extra payout that's dependent upon match play and a title, obviously. All
right. I think we've just fixed the PGA Tour.
I mean, just get us in a room with everybody. I'm sure that'll go over well.
All right, let's get into our picks for the FedEx St. Jude Championship, TPC Southwind. Cody, do you have any thoughts on the course?
Ball striking, man. This is you got to be able to strike the ball, particularly on approach, but I also need you to not necessarily be the most accurate driver in the world, but be accurate. You need to not be hitting the ball off the planet. That's when we've seen a lot of guys get into trouble around here. But this is a ball striker's course, and it always has been.
And I would add in it is a par 70, which is important to note. So I'd like to take a look at par 4 scoring as well.
Yeah. Par 5 and par 3 scoring are much less important here than in almost every other PGA Tour venue.
All right, let's get into it. Top 20, top 10, top 5, our pick to win, and then we'll give out our long shot plays for closest to the win. So let's start off with your pick to finish inside the top 20 this week, Cody. And by the way, it is 70-man field, right?
70-man, no cut. Right. So, the top 20 odds, they're not the juiciest we've ever seen. So, and I think that's reflected in my pick. I'm sure it probably is in yours as well. But Davis Thompson to finish top 20, plus 140. After his T2 at the Rocket Mortgage and then the win at the John Deere, he kind of fell off. He was outside the top 40 in Scotland and then at the British Open as well. But he bounced back and came back with a T12 last week at the Wyndham. And we started to see what really made Davis Thompson good. He has gained strokes off the tee in his last 6 events. He is the beautiful blend of pretty long, but also really accurate with that length. So we love to see that. What really fell off when he went across the pond was his approach play. His approach play had been spiking, and that fell off. We saw him get back close to average last week. I'm following that trend line more than I am like seeing him really pop, and that's why I'm only going with the top 20. I thought about him as a top 10, but until I see their approach play back to spiking, I want to see that first. But I think that he's still been gaining with the short game. He in 5 of his last 6 events. I think he's really dialed in. I think he's elevated himself as a player, and even with his good finishes, he still has some work to do to make it through further in these playoffs. So I think him coming out and really showing that he's stateside again, trending back in the right direction, I think he has a really good week at a course that when you look at his DNA, when you look at where he's had success this year, this should really suit his game.
All right, I like it. My top 20 pick, I'm in Canada right now, so I got to make at least one of my picks a Canadian. So I'm going to go with Taylor Pendrith, top 20, plus 180. Basically, this pick is solely on recent form, T5 of the Barracuda, solo 5 of the 3M Open. Obviously not the strongest fields in the world, but he is playing good golf heading into this week. And like I said, par 4 scoring is pretty important this week. Taylor Pendrith tied for 26th on the PGA Tour heading into this week in par 4 scoring. So, plus 180, I think that's a pretty decent bet there for him to finish inside the top 20. And as we remind people every week, the odds that we are citing are including ties. Which I know, especially the first half of the season, we are citing almost solely BetMGM because of that. FanDuel as well now every single week offers ties included in their position placings. Does DraftKings as well?
I don't know about every week, but they have a lot of the weeks. The majority of weeks they've had it. I don't know if they had it last week for the Wyndham, but I haven't looked, but I would assume they have it this week as well.
We are trendsetters getting those. Thanks to us for making sportsbooks add those ties included posts, because nothing's worse than having a guy finish T19 with 5 other guys and you get pennies on the dollar for your bet. It's the worst.
I was gonna say, like, I feel we may be trendsetters, but I feel like it's the most obvious thing in the world. Like, dead heat rules suck. Like, who wants to do that?
Yeah, and it's really not that worse odds. Like, if this bet wasn't, if this bet was dead heat, it might be 2-1, but like, I'd much rather bet plus 180 and get the full payout if he finishes T19.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on to top 10. I just took a Canadian for top 20. You're taking a Canadian for top 10.
Oh, yeah, your boy, Corey Connors, plus 260 for a top 10. Look, man, he's playing like Corey Connors, and that's a really good thing, except the one big key, he is gaining with the short game, gaining around the green and with the putter over his last 20 rounds, which when Corey Connors does that, watch out. He's going to reel off some good finishes. 5th in weighted strokes gained tee to green over the last 20 rounds in this field. So the ball striking at Corey Connors levels, and the weighted means, that's accounting for field strength. So he's doing it against the best in the world. He's been top 5 in ball striking. Gaining in the putter, one of the key ranges I'm looking at on approach this week is 125 to 150 yards, as well as up to 200 yards in those buckets. But he's 5th in this field in strokes gained from 125 to 150. I imagine him being in a lot of those with a lot of wedges on approach. He has been dialed from that range. At TPC Southwind, he also has a great history. He hasn't finished outside the top 36 in 5 starts at this golf course. He was T6 last year. He was T9 in Paris at the Olympics. I think all this is shaping up for Corey Connors to really tear this place apart. It's a place he's gotten more comfortable as he's played here more. And the way his form is right now, he should suit it absolutely perfectly.
Yeah, I like it. I'm never going to argue against the Corey Connors pick.
Especially when he's gaining with the short game. Like, that's literally the only argument anyone can ever have against Corey Connors. And if he's even average, like, that's a boom spot for him.
Yeah. By the way, you mentioned the Olympics. I mentioned it. I meant to mention it at the top of the show. I'm upset with myself. I didn't take Lydia Ko to win the gold medal. She won gold. Congrats to her. She has she hit for the cycle. when it comes to winning medals in golf, which I don't think will ever be achieved ever again. I don't know if we'll see a golfer win medals in 3 different Olympics ever again. Like that in itself is a feat, and to also go gold, silver, bronze, or I guess technically she went silver, bronze, gold is crazy. So shout out Lydia Ko.
What a legend. That's unbelievable stuff. Love to see it.
And with the gold medal, it got her into the LPGA Hall of Fame as well. So shout out Lydia Ko.
27th career win, I believe is what it is. That's what it takes to qualify.
I still haven't totally forgiven her for blowing it against Nelly Korda early in the season when I note right on her. But to be fair, that was more Nelly. I mean, Nelly went eagle birdie and then wanted to play off to finish. So
that sounds like it had a lot to do with Nelly, more so than Lydia.
Yeah, so I guess I'll forgive her. All right, my pick to finish in the top 10 was my pick to win last week. Like I said, my Aaron Rai was my top 5 pick. I also said I was betting on Moat Wright, but my pick to win still was in contention. Still had a pretty decent week. I think he finished T7. He's my top 10 pick this week, and that's Billy Horschel. I don't see any reason to get off the Billy Horschel train just quite yet. This is another guy I've been on several times throughout the year. T2 at the Open, obviously, is his best event. I would argue a T2 at the Open is probably more impressive than a win at the Corrales Punta Cana that he had earlier this year. But last week at the Wyndham, T7, so he's still playing very good golf. He doesn't have a post-Open hangover. Still gained over a stroke per round approach. His chipping is kind of what let him down this past week, but that's pretty rare for Billy Horschel. Usually his around the green play is pretty solid. And he has an extremely good course history at TPC Southwind. Dating back the past 10 years, in 2014, he finished 6th, 2015, 8th, 2017, 4th, 2019, 9th, 2021, 17th. Only missed the cut here once in the past 10 years. It was in 2022, which I think was his year that he's kind of all over the place and just not playing good golf. So great course history. Obviously, great form recently. We're just asking for a second straight top, or I guess technically a third straight top 10 from Billy Horschel at plus 270. I think that's a pretty decent bet.
No, absolutely. Billy Ho is a guy you have to like. I was actually listening to a podcast. I can't remember which one it was, but someone floated Billy Horschel's name and they asked are you worried about fatigue? And that would be the one concern, but Billy Ho is not a guy that I worry about fatigue. Dude just plays all the time and never seems to lose an ounce of energy.
Yeah, I would have been concerned about it potentially last week because then before that it was like the Open, a little bit of a letdown. He didn't win, coming back to North America. Like if he was going to have a fatigue week, I think it would have been last week. But he still played extremely well, so I'm not too concerned about that this week.
Not at all. And
also,
like course history is phenomenal.
Former FedEx Cup winner.
Exactly.
People forget.
People forget. Also, the only, let's just list off Billy Horschel accolades. Also, the only man to win the Zurich Classic as an individual and a team event.
People forget.
People forget. What a legend.
All right, let's move on to top 5. Who do you got?
Yeah, I named no one who has ever tuned into this show will forget Hideki Matsuyama. Bronze medal, he's got it. He's probably, I would flex and just wear my bronze medal to every tournament I played from here on out, frankly. He probably won't do that. Hideki's a better man than I, but last 20 rounds, 9th in weighted strokes gained tee to green. On approach, he's 17th from 125 to 150 yards, 6th from 150 to 175, and 16th from 175 to 200. The right ranges he's dialed from. Also, TPC Southwind, another guy where his history here has just been phenomenal. Last 3 starts, T20, T2, and T16. He's playing the type of golf that we saw at the Olympics was Hideki playing the type of golf where Hideki is in contention all the time. Like, if he's playing this way, he is going to be in contention. His short game is dialed. He's not egregiously bad with the putter right now. His ball striking is where you want it to be. And this is a place where when Hideki's playing Hideki's best golf, he has obviously shined. The course history shows that. And so I think a top 5 at plus 500, I think that's a really nice bet for him.
Speaking of bronze medalist winner and him wearing it, or the fact you'd wear it around, I don't know if you saw today the picture that the medalists took with each other, Cody, and Hideki and Tommy Fleetwood were wearing their medals. Scotty Scheffler just didn't bring his. He just won a gold medal at the Olympics and then just tossed it in his trophy pile. It was just all right, on to the next one. Which is pretty funny and on brand.
Like $30 million in a single year, you probably have that luxury.
Yeah. All right, my top 5 pick to win. I don't know if we've picked this guy on the show for quite a while. Maybe we have, but I don't think I have. I think I'm ready to jump on the Sung J M train a little bit. I'm going to take Sung J M to finish in the top 5 at plus 550. I know I kind of rely on Data Golf maybe a little bit more than I should. I do like their model. They have Sung Jae Im as the 6th best chance to win this week behind Scheffler, Schauffele, McIlroy, Morikawa, and Fleetwood. Very good on par 4s. That's a big thing this week. Like I said, with it being a par 70, par 4 scoring is going to be huge. Sung Jae Im is 6th in par 4 scoring. So yeah, I like Sung Jae this week. He's been in pretty decent form. He finished 6th here at this event last year, 12th the year before. So he's had some solid finishes at TPC Southwind. So I think now is just kind of the time to invest a little bit on Sung Jae Im. I think the market's a little behind on where they should be for Sung Jae Im.
I have, because of bets that I placed earlier in the year, I kind of just have some ill will towards Sung Jae right now.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah.
But I will say, talking about the numbers, in the custom model I did on rickrungood.com, that's what I typically use instead of Data Golf. Sung Jae's 4th in that model. So the fit is absolutely there.
Yep. All right, I like it. Let's get to our pick to win. Now, you went with the market winner without Scotty. I did not. I went brave a little bit, and the reason why is because Scotty Scheffler actually has not had good course history here. 43rd, 15th, 14th, miscut 31st. Now, that being said, it's Scotty Scheffler in 2024. He might come out and win this by 5 strokes or be down 9 strokes halfway through the final round and come back and win. So I don't blame you for doing it. My pick, I included Scotty Scheffler. I may live to regret it, but you did not. Your winner is the winner without Scheffler market.
Yeah, Colin Morikawa, 11-1, winner without Scotty Scheffler. I went without Scotty Scheffler just because what he did at the Olympics terrifies me. Not just the comeback. He lost strokes putting for the week and still won a gold medal.
Yeah,
and
crazy.
So if Scotty Scheffler's striking the ball even better than he was to win the Olympics in that fashion, just look out. Like it terrifies me. So I'm willing to take a little bit of depression in the odds. Colin Morikawa, let's be real, I bet on him several times to win this year. It obviously has not worked out, but he is one of the other guys who falls into the category of it has to be coming with the way he's playing. 6th in weighted strokes gained tee to green, 4th in weighted strokes gained approach over the last 20 rounds. Over that span, he's top 5 in bogey avoidance. He's not putting big numbers on the card. He's top 6 in the 3 approach distance buckets that I've already mentioned. All 3 of them. Extremely accurate driver, but also doesn't sacrifice too much length. Like he has added a little bit of length off the tee, but he's still extremely accurate. He's also still gaining with the putter. He didn't at the Olympics. That was the reason he wasn't really in contention at the Olympics after being my pick to win there. I still think that Colin Morikawa is playing the type of golf that you need to play to win from a ball striking perspective. I think it's overshadowed by Scotty Scheffler because of how dominant he's been in that category. And then on top of that, last 2 starts at TPC Southwind, Colin Morikawa has a T13 and a T5. So it's a place that very clearly suits what he does well. I think he checks all the boxes from numerical and course fit aspects of it. And so Colin Morikawa, Scotty Scheffler's probably going to win, but in this market, I don't have to worry about that. Give me a runner-up behind Scotty Scheffler for Colin Morikawa.
I will say we have seen in the FedEx Cup playoffs a few times a golfer who's like kind of flirting with wins during the year, but that doesn't really get wins and then just like rips off like 3 of the 4 tournaments in the playoffs. Victor Hovland was that last year. I remember Patrick Cantlay was that a few years ago. Colin Morikawa might be the candidate to do that this year.
That's a really good call. Yeah, we definitely saw it with Hovland last year, and even before Cantlay, I feel like there was someone else who went on a similar type run. And like
Billy Horschel. I think Billy Horschel did too. The year he won too, didn't he?
Yeah, Billy Horschel Facts Podcast. That's what we're going to rename this after the fact. But no, I think Morikawa absolutely fits that bill. And on top of that, like we also seen like the guys who are just hot coming into these types of and into the playoffs. Like we watched Lucas Glover, and everyone was like, "Oh, there's no way he wins the FedEx St. Jude. He's the defending champion here, right after winning the Wyndham to get into the playoffs." So like we have seen like people get on heaters when it comes to the FedEx Cup playoffs.
Yeah, another guy who he didn't end up winning the Tour Championship or the whole FedEx Cup, but he won back-to-back weeks in the playoffs, is Bryson DeChambeau back in 2018.
Yes, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. And then, I guess Shriners was the start of the next season, but yeah. So we've certainly seen that happen before. I could see Colin Morikawa being that guy this year. Now I am giving myself credit for personally willing Xander Schauffele to be a winning golfer who just like wins events. my project with Xander is kind of over. It took 5 years, but I turned him into an all-time choker, to a 2-time major winner that nobody calls a choker anymore, even though he kind of choked away at the Olympics too, and no one really talks about it. So
yeah, but he doesn't need it. He has a gold medal already.
Fact. So I think I'm settling on a new target. I think there's another golfer out there who is, some might say, the European version of Xander Schauffele, who just can't get it done. Actually just won a silver medal, which is, I think I tweeted this, is kind of poetic because his whole career has been a silver medal. Have no fear, Tommy Fleetwood. You're my next target. I'm going to will you to being a winner on the PGA Tour. I'm going to will you to being a major winner. And I think that starts, at least getting a win on the PGA Tour, that starts this week. I'm taking Tommy Fleetwood to win the FedEx St. Jude Championship. I'm a masochist. I just want to bet on guys who are going to break my heart. So I guess Xander doesn't break my heart anymore. So now I guess it's going to be Tommy Fleetwood. If you look at Data Golf's model, they got Tommy Fleetwood with a 5th best chance to win. He's obviously coming in good form after winning the silver medal at the Olympics. He is a ball striking guy. He's been a little bit hot and cold so far this season, but still pretty consistent results for the most part. And I believe, it's pretty solid finishes here at this event too. 3rd place last year, 4th place in 2019. So good course history, good form. And he's my next target. I'm going to will him to being a winner starting now. He's my new Xander Schauffele.
Okay, let me start by saying you're a sick man, and I respect it wholeheartedly. But secondly, let me say I love this, because one of the things I was actually tossing around, and I forgot to mention in the Hideki part of this, I see a lot of similarities between the TPC Southwind and the Golf National in terms of what you're going to need from approach and what you're going to need in terms of like good drives, not necessarily super accurate, but good drives. And Tommy Fleetwood checks those boxes. And obviously, like you said, we just saw him win a silver medal there. So I really like the fit and the correlation between those two things.
Perfect. I like it. Taking some medalist winners, and hopefully we can get a winner ourselves this week.
Let's ride with it, man.
Back-to-back outright winners on Green on the Greens as we enter the final stretch. Only 2 more weeks left. After is it just BMW and then Tour Championship?
Yeah, man, it's coming to a close. But never fear, President's Cup is coming.
That's true. Were the playoffs 4 tournaments before? Am I misremembering that, or was it always just 3?
I think it was always 3. I think the big change was it used to be 125, 70,
right,
30. And now it's 70, 50, 30. And I think like the 125 made it seem like it was a longer stretch.
Yeah, that's probably true. No, it was. It used to be 4.
Okay. When did it change? Like
2019. Okay, so not really recent, but it used to be. Yeah, because now it's just FedEx Cup, FedEx St. Jude, BMW Tour. It used to be the Northern Trust, Dell Technologies, BMW, then Tour Championship.
I forgot about Dell Technologies.
Yeah.
Man, so much has happened in golf since 2019, 2018. My God.
In my opinion, I thought it switched from 4 to 3 like this year, but no, it happened in 2019. So time doesn't exist anymore. It's
a flat circle.
Yeah, correct. All right. Oh, close to the win. I forgot about close to the win. My bad. I forgot because I won this. I already won this competition a month ago. But we are still doing it to give some people some long shot picks for golfers who are at least at 100-1 odds to win. Long shots that we like that you can kind of sprinkle on top 20, top 30, however way you want to do it. A lot of 100, actually, a lot of decent golfers at 100-1 odds or longer. So, I mean, if you want to, long shots have won it before. What was Lucas Glover when he won it last year? Must have been over 100-1.
It was close to it. He might have been 80 just because he was coming. I think it was around 80 more so than 100 just because he was coming off of the win. But like outside, still a long shot, all things considered.
All right, who do you got?
I've got Cam Davis, and honestly, this is mostly a course history play. He is 26 in this field in strokes gained tee to green over the last 20 rounds. That's literally the only stat I have outside of course history. But last 2 years, he was T6 last year and T13 here in 2022. Cam Davis is the type of guy who we've talked about, like guys like Adam Hadwin. Whenever they get hot, it's really hard to see. Their form doesn't necessarily show it. But with Cam Davis, it's a little bit easier to forecast because it's courses he plays well. he wasn't playing that well going into the Rocket Mortgage when he won it this year. And that's a course that he's already won at and has played well historically at. Considering that he's played well historically here, I'm taking that correlation in the fact that he's not in like horrific form by any stretch of the imagination. And I'm saying that he's going to have another good week this week.
All right, I like it. Mine is Taylor Moore, 220 to 1. How about that for a long shot?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, solo fifth here last year. So obviously good course history, solo fifth last year. And he is kind of like an Adam Hadwin type where it's like either misses the cut or he finishes top 10 because that's kind of been his results lately. T10 at the Rocket Mortgage, missed a cut in the two European events, but then came back and finished T12, the 3M, T52 last week. So not a great start last week, but he is the kind of guy that, I mean, form is going to be a huge predictor because he'll just miss 5 out of 6 cuts, but then the cut he doesn't miss, he finishes top 10. So I'm just going to kind of bank on him, this being a good week for him. And with this being a course that he finished solo third at last year, I think it's a pretty good bet for him. So Taylor Moore, if you want to bet, I'm not going to bet him outright. I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to bet him 220 to 1. But it might be a 3-ball play, might be a cheap DFS option. I'm probably going to bet him top 20, which I think is at around 2 to 1 odds, if I remember correctly. Plus 250 to finish in the top 20, ties included. So that's how I'm going to play Taylor Moore. But he is my pick for close to the win.
Yeah, and he's even money for a top 30 if you want to look at that way as well.
There you go. Beautiful. Perfect. All right. Any final thoughts for FedEx St. Jude Championship before we wrap it up?
No, man, I just wish the golf playoffs were more exciting. Like that,
Yeah.
It sucks that we get to the end of the season and it seems like there's less like there's more care about the Wyndham and who gets into the playoffs than there is about like what happens in the actual playoffs. And that sucks.
I will say one thing that's going to be interesting is Scotty Scheffler is obviously, I assume so. I don't know if anyone can catch him in the points, but I assume he's going to be first place heading the Tour Championship. He's going to have that huge lead. He's choked at the Tour Championship.
Yeah.
Is it twice now he's choked at the Tour Championship? Rory caught him a couple years ago and Victor caught him last year. So like,
yeah.
Obviously, that's still a couple weeks away, but it's going to be interesting. Scotty, who's won a million events this year, won the Masters, won the gold medal, once again will have a huge stroke lead on the field at an event where he's choked, like straight up choked twice.
And I think the most interesting part about that is your boy, Xander Schauffele, is almost surely going to be second on the leaderboard going into that, and his history at Eastlake is dominant. Like
extremely good.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
So that only further adds to that. So you're right. At least there is a little drama, but it sucks that we got to wait 2 weeks to get to that drama.
Yeah, because I mean, yeah. Outside of like the top 10, I guess maybe even top 20 golfers, like who really cares, to be honest? So
yeah.
The drama of these 2 weeks are going to be who gets into the Tour Championship, but then it's like, okay, congratulations, you got finished 25th, so now you're going to be 6 strokes back from Scotty Scheffler. Good luck.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like the real takeaway, like before the Tour Championship, is like, okay, getting into the Tour Championship gets you into basically every major. And so, like, if there's some guy who sneaks in there and gets into a major that wasn't previously qualified, that's always cool. You like to see that. But outside of that, like, what are we looking at?
Yeah. All right, that's our show. Then we'll be back. I'll still be on vacation next week. We'll see what my vacation beard looks like this time next week, and then I will be back in New York for the Tour Championship. So thank you all so much for watching. Subscribe to us on BetSide's YouTube channel. Give us a like. Leave a comment who you're betting on this week. Gamble or bless. Let's see if we can hit another outright winner.
Let's do it.
Bye.